Welcome to Week 1, Presentation 3. Today we're going to discuss business ethics. Ethics in general refers to morality, which is defined as a system of moral conduct. This relates to what we consider behavior that is right or wrong. Moral standards are societal norms, or what is considered right or wrong by the majority of society. Typically, what is considered wrong by one is considered wrong by everybody in society. Morality refers to acting in a way that is considered morally right by society. Business ethics is a discipline of ethics. It refers to ethical conduct of people engaging in business. This is a more specialized study of moral standards applicable to people engaging in commerce or institutions and organizations. There are organizations that are in business to make a profit, yet we judge the ethical character of the organizations by the decisions made by that organization. Violations of ethical standards in business involve a variety of types of actions. Creative accounting might refer to making numbers work. This may not necessarily include fraudulent accounting entries, but may shift the way information is interpreted in order to make a company appear more financially healthy than it actually is. Misleading financial forecasts may entice investors to buy shares of a company that may not be as financially healthy as the forecasts make it appear. Insider trading refers to security trades made by insiders. Insiders include corporate executives or any person that has information not available to the public. The Securities and Exchange Commission used to define insiders as company executives, but this is expanded to include anyone that has inside information. Insiders profit from this information by buying or selling shares based on information not available to the public. Bribery and kickbacks are also examples of unethical and possibly illegal behavior. Bribery is when someone pays another to influence decision making. A kickback is a form of bribery when someone kicks back money or something of value as a commission for a service rendered. There are different types of ethical issues. Corporate ethical issues are those involving the corporation and not so much individuals. How ethical is the company? We can take a look at their policies and culture to get an idea of how ethical the company is. Of course, these policies and culture are dictated by senior management. So unethical behavior on their behalf will translate into unethical behavior on the part of the company. One company, for example, imposed a policy in which every quarter managers were told to fire a percentage of their workers. Can you imagine what this did to the people working there? If you knew that you and a percentage of your colleagues were subject to being fired, what might you do to preserve your job? Many people acted unethically as a result of this policy. Another company imposed quotas on automotive services. And if workers didn't meet those quotas, they would have their hours reduced. As a result, there was a sale of unneeded automotive services to customers in order to meet those quotas. This is an example of a company instituting a policy that resulted in unethical behavior. However, the ethics of a corporation may not reflect the ethics of the individuals working there. Just because someone worked at Enron doesn't make them an unethical person. Individual ethics results from a particular individual's decision making, his or her behavior and character. This may be the result of unethical policies handed down by corporate management, or it may simply be that the person acts unethically on his or her own. Most people believe that ethics is very important and applies to all activities, including business. Businesses cannot survive without good ethics because eventually they'll make a decision that will get them in trouble. Customers and employees care about good ethics. If the company acts unethically, a customer might patronize a more ethical competitor even if they charge more. There are studies that show a positive correlation between good business ethics and higher profits. Many people will pay a premium for a burrito, for example, because they know that the ingredients in that burrito were sustainably farmed and ethically raised. There is also an argument against business ethics. Many believe that profit maximization will ensure maximum social benefit in a free market economy. This means that consumers will benefit when it comes to price and quality because of competition in the market. Managers are obligated to be loyal to the company and they answer to their companies. This is true in that managers are hired by the owners or shareholders of the company to run the company, so they must answer to shareholders. Management decisions are ones that should increase share value, but sometimes this can lead to unethical behavior. Although there are some who argue against business ethics, they still believe that corporations do need to obey laws. Usually, when we are acting ethically, we are also acting lawfully. The law is considered a reflection of what society believes to be minimum standards of conduct. Acting ethically usually ensures that we are acting within the boundaries of the law. The law represents codified ethics, ethics that are written down, and someone that is acting illegally is also acting unethically. There are three models of management ethics. The first being immoral management. This is synonymous with acting unethically, and many companies act unethically in order to maximize profit. They do not consider the stakeholders involved in the decision making. They simply act in order to maximize profit with no thought to how it affects anyone else. They may even have no problems breaking a law as long as it makes the company's money. Unethical managers are motivated by personal or company gains and profitability. They might regard laws as legal barriers, something to be overcome, and they would engage in illegal activity as long as it made money. The key operating strategy for immoral management is to focus on exploiting opportunities for either personal or company gain. The question that is asked by immoral managers is, can we make money with this regardless of what it takes? Moral management, on the other hand, is that which conforms to the highest standards of ethical behavior. Managers will take into account the effects that their decisions have on all stakeholders, and they strive to be ethical and their standards of conduct, motives, goals, and legality. The decisions that are made by moral managers are ones that benefit not just the company, but other stakeholders that might have a vested interest in that decision. Moral managers, as any other managers, of course, strive for success. However, they will only do so within the confines of ethical behavior. The focus is not just on the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law as well. The law is always followed and considered a minimal standard of conduct. Ethical behavior resides above behavior required by the law. Moral managers live by sound ethical standards, and the question that they ask is, will this action be fair to all stakeholders involved as well as the organization? They take into account the effect that their decision has on everyone when attempting to maximize profit for the company. Amoral management is neither moral nor immoral. It is simply the lack of ethical consideration in making decisions. Decisions are made without regard for stakeholders, and these managers believe that business activity does not require moral judgment. This is referred to as intentional amoral management, where managers understand that ethics exist, they just believe it doesn't exist in the business world. Something that they might not do at home, they would do at work, for example. Unintentional amoral management also does not take into account ethics when decisions are being made. However, this is different from intentional amoral management, where managers are aware of ethical implications, but they choose to ignore it. Unintentional amoral management is characterized by carelessness. Managers are simply not aware of the fact that the decision may have negative consequences for other stakeholders. They lack ethical and moral perception and awareness and might have good intentions, but they are insensitive to others. When police departments adopt physical requirements to become police officers, they might exclude perfectly capable candidates. Some also institute age restrictions, but what if a 50-year-old candidate is just as qualified as a 20-year-old one? Is it ethical to exclude someone because of their age? Randy Duke Cunningham was a highly decorated Navy fighter pilot who happened to be one of the most decorated pilots in the Vietnam War. He shot down 5 Vietnamese MiG aircraft, making him a fighter ace, and won the Navy Cross, 2 Silver Stars, 15 Air Medals, and a Purple Heart for wounds received in combat. As a civilian, he served in the House of Representatives. During his tenure, he was found to have accepted $2.4 million in bribes from the owner of a defense contractor. Of course, since people who accept bribes don't usually report this income to the IRS, they don't pay income tax on their ill-gotten income. This also means that they're committing tax evasion as well. Mitchell Wade, the owner of MZM Incorporated, received tens of millions of dollars in government defense contracts, a result of having provided bribes to Cunningham. Not all were in cash. Cunningham also received a Rolls-Royce, antiques, and Persian rugs, as well as loans for real estate, some of which were paid off by Wade. Cunningham received an 8-year sentence, while Wade received 2.5 years. Martha Stewart was charged with insider trading when she sold her shares of ImClone after receiving a tip from her stockbroker, Peter Bakanovic. The act of tipping is also illegal as well. Stewart was friends with CEO of ImClone, who, along with his family, dumped their shares when they learned the FDA rejected an application for a drug the firm had applied for. When the information went public, share price dropped 16%. As a result, Martha Stewart avoided losses of over $45,000. The charges of insider trading against Martha Stewart were dropped. Although she was acting on advice of her stockbroker, which was illegal, the judge dismissed the charge. However, she was sentenced to prison for lying to investigators. The CEO received a 7-year sentence and a $4 million fine. Stewart's stockbroker received a prison sentence and lost his license to operate in the securities industry. 8 years later, the share price is $20 more when this occurred. Had they simply waited, they would have actually made a profit and done no prison time. Business ethics is extremely important to the success of any company. Managers and executives may lose sight of this, act unethically, and opt for short-term financial gain. In the long run, the business will suffer, and many times executives end up in jail. Good ethics is a critical part to the success of any firm. This concludes our presentation on ethics. Thank you for joining me.